sanskaras that they get in their childhood. Right? I mean, jo package wo le aate hain. We don't have any control over that. In front of us, the question becomes, what do we give them? Pujya Swamiji always tells people, he says, you know, typically people teach their children and they say, do what I say, but not what I do. Chalte nahi hai. Every child will do exactly what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. And so what happens is, without even realizing it, our own values have changed. It doesn't mean we're bad people. It doesn't mean that we should feel guilty. It just means we have to look at the situation honestly. Go back a generation, 2 generations. I don't even mean 100 years. Go back 30 years. What were the values? Sanskars, family, dharma, karamkand, adhyatmata, right? What did families do together? They gathered together. TV hote nahi thi, computers hote nahi the. They gathered together. They'd have arti, they'd meditate. Now what happens? We gather together, we watch some serial. And again, I'm not blaming us. We just have to understand what's happened. Our focus has become material and external. The focus has become how much money we earn, what type of clothes we buy, what resort we vacation at, what type of car we have. We put it on our children. Our children come home from school with 80%. Does anyone ever say to them, Dekho beta, you are not your marks. All this 80% says is that you were able to answer these questions. You were able to answer 80% of the questions in the way the teacher asked. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you're 80% intelligent. It doesn't mean you're 80% worthwhile. It doesn't mean you're 80% of a good person. It just means कि जिस तरह से teacher ने उसको grade किया, जिस तरह से तुमने लिख दिया, there was a matching of 80%, an overlap of 80%. But we don't do that. We push them scholastically. We make them responsible for our moods. They fail an exam, hum bahut udas ho gaya. Ab, now they feel miserable because they failed the exam, and they feel miserable because mera wajah se pitaji udas ho gaya, mummy udas ho gaya, mummy ne bhojan nahi khaya. मैंने सुना था रात भर वो लोग बात कर रहे थे, मम्मी रो रही थी. Now, not only did I fail my exam, वो तो ठीक हो गया, but मेरे वजह से मम्मी रो रही है, मेरे वजह से वो सब उदास हो गया. And then we wonder, then we come Puja Swami ji के चरण में कि मेरा बच्चों को पता नहीं क्यों depression हो गया उसको. तो naturally depression हो गया. They're doing the best they can. You don't know what happened in that teacher's house that day, jiski wajah se she was angry, he was angry. Sabko 80% se niche de diya. We don't know what's going on. But what we're teaching our children is, you are your marks. You are your grade. You are how you stand in your class. You are what you look like. One of the things that I love to do, we here in the ashram, TVs hoti nahi apne paas, and we don't get the English newspapers. But when I'm on the train, they give out the Times of India, Hindustan Times. So मैं देखती हूँ, पढ़ती रहती हूँ, and I always love to read the matrimonial sections. Now, of course, everybody laughs कि कोई सन्यासी बैठ के पढ़ रहे matrimonials. वो भी 45 साल की सन्यासी, वो matrimonial क्या पढ़ी है वो? But I read it because in the nearly 20 years I've been here, I have yet to see one advertisement that does not say fair-skinned beauty. अब आप मुझे ये बताइए, Tamil Nadu की fair-skinned beauty होते नहीं है? They're gorgeous, they're exotic, but they're dark. So what are we teaching our children? Two things. Number one, who you are is not good enough, nobody will want it. And number two, the only way to get ahead in life is to lie. और उसको तो पता है कि एक बार जब मिलेंगे वो भी पता लग जाएगा कि I'm not a fair-skinned beauty. Now all of that stress is there. So we have to realize the role we play in this. And again, as I began, this doesn't mean we're bad people. It doesn't mean that we don't want the best for our children. It just means bina sochte hue. What are we teaching them? You are the shade of your skin. You are the mark this teacher, in whatever mood she was in whatever, graha was over her, she decided to give you. That's now your identity. That's who they are. This is what we want our children to grow up believing that they are. हमें किसी से मिलना है 8 बजे शाम को भोजन के लिए, थोड़ा सा लेट हो गया, तैयारी में है, हम कपड़े पहन रहे, नाक है, फोन बजते हैं. We can see कि उनका फोन, बच्चों को क्या कहते हैं, उनको बोल दो हम रास्ते पे हैं. Then हम आके स्वामी जी के चरण में पता नहीं क्या हुआ, वो झूठ बोलने लगे हमारे बच्चे. किसने सिखाया उनको? So what we have to do is realize how we live, what we give them, is of more importance than anything else. And it's actually the only thing we have any control over. We could sit here until tomorrow morning talking about what's wrong with the movies, what's wrong with TV, what's wrong with the advertisements. लेकिन इसके बारे में हम लोग क्या करेंगे? सारे रात हम बात कर सकते हैं, पर करेंगे क्या? We don't have control over that. And it's good. You don't want to live in a society where we're censoring advertisements, censoring movies, censoring TV. नहीं नहीं, ये संस्कार ठीक नहीं है. We live in a free society. So over what we have control is what we give them. And what I can tell you from a background in psychology is that what you give them is of far more importance than what movie they saw, what advertisement in what magazine they were reading, which TV show they saw at someone's house. These things do not go inside the way that what our parents tell us or how our parents treat us goes inside. Nobody walks into a psychologist's office suffering due to some movie they watched 20 years ago or some advertisement they saw in some magazine. It's what they've taken in from their families, from their communities. तो जो अपने हाथ में है is still in our hands. और उसमें बहुत बची हुई है. And lastly, what I can tell you, because Pujya Swamiji and I do so much with youth, they're much better than you think they are. They're actually in really good shape if we can support them. Really support them, not with our agendas, but really support them in who they are. They will do wonderful things in the world.